the Fantasy MLB DFS podcast with hosts John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? John Impemba here with Mark Pitt in for James Grande. Mark making his Fantasy Alarm Better Baseball MLB DFS debut. Of course, you've seen his Value Vault articles over the last week or so, putting out some winners there. He'll be joining us here while James is on paternity leave for the next couple of weeks to see myself with a couple of new familiar faces here doing the live stream and podcast each day. Today we got Mark. Mark, man, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, John. It's good to be here.
We've had Mark, obviously, seeing him in chat. He's been trolling our chat rooms on YouTube. You see him in Discord. We've known Mark for a long time. He used to do some NBA content for us way back in the day with Fantasy Alarm, and I've known Mark almost my entire life. We got the bus stop together when we were in like second grade. So plenty of familiarity here with Mark and myself, and hopefully you guys will enjoy his presence on the stream just as much as you do when he's in the chat rooms and in the Discord. But of course, he's been putting out some great content for all of you over the last week anyway. So we are in plenty of good hands here while we fill in for James while he comes working on child number 2 entering the world.
Has he had the baby yet?
Not that I am aware of, but
we're
Tuesday. Any day now. Yeah. They wanted to be prepared. Didn't want to have him midstream, mid recording, mid live show, and all of a sudden he's got a dip, and John's here by himself looking blankly into a camera. So we bring in Mark. We'll have Colby Conway. We'll have Henry Wilson, Dan Servidio, Howard Bender filling in for James for the next couple of weeks while we finish out this MLB season, because we're in September now. It's recording here on Sunday for a 7-game Monday slate. It's a holiday week here, so we have a day slate of afternoon baseball. 7 games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Before we jump into all of that, shout out to our friends over at RT Sports. Go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. New users who sign up will get a 100% deposit match up to $200. They have their DFS Pick'em contest, and they also have their fantasy football best ball and fantasy football seasonal championships going on right now. NFL season kicks off on Thursday, so if you haven't yet signed up, take advantage of the promo code, get the 100% deposit match. Really no better deal than getting somebody to match your money 100% and have those funds in your account to go ahead and turn into some more money. Nothing better than that there, Mark. So let's get to it. Main event here, breaking down 7 games on a Monday. Looking at Vegas totals here, Mark. We saw the run lines for most of these games sitting at 8.5. And any notable money lines for you?
So we got the Diamondbacks are minus 240, and we have the Blue Jays minus 200, both on the FanDuel Sportsbook. No other game was really notable, but those two are the biggest favorites on the board.
We got Arizona at home against Colorado on this slate. Toronto on the road against Oakland. Obviously, teams that we've been looking to beat up on this season, so no real surprise. Thankfully, we don't have a core slate. We have the Rockies on the slate, but they are in Arizona, so we don't have to worry about what we just had to experience with Toronto and Atlanta these last couple of games, with Atlanta having a 7.5 team run total by themselves. You basically had forced in your hand there to play Braves or Blue Jays over the last week there, with them being in Colorado. Breaking it down, taking a look at the pitching slate here, only one pitcher's up over $10,000. We have Justin Steele at home against the San Francisco Giants. We got a couple of pitchers up over $9K. Aaron Savale at home against the Red Sox. Logan Webb on the road against the Chicago Cubs. And Merrill Kelly, as you mentioned, Diamondbacks big favorites. He's at home against the Colorado Rockies. When we're looking at some top price pitching options here on this slate, Mark, which are some of the ones that you're looking to key in on when looking to build your lineups out?
So I do like Justin Steele. San Francisco has been just a terrible, terrible offense for a good stretch now. Over the last month, they have like the third highest strikeout rate with a 27% rate. And he's been really effective. He doesn't give up a lot of home runs, doesn't give up a lot of power. And I think he can get it done. 10K is a little high, but I have no problem getting to him on this slate.
Yeah, 7 or more strikeouts for Justin Steele now in 4 of the last 5 starts. And as you've mentioned, we've really just been targeting San Francisco all season long. And the lefty split from basically opening day till this point has been the one we've been going at. They have a couple of bats that can obviously do a little bit of damage. We have to avoid, Wilmer Flores. But for the most part, this lineup is something that you can just kind of attack. And Justin Steele's an all-star this year. He continues to pitch like 115-3, 3 ERA. So I'm with you there as a top price starter on a slate with like 7 games. Certainly could get some decent ownership. I've been a Merrill Kelly guy all season long. And then, you're mentioning the fact that he's a minus 240 favorite. Now he's at home. We've been going at this Rockies offense. We talk about home road splits a lot for Colorado's offense. They're just drastically worse on the road than they are at home. Would you go down to $9,300 for Merrill Kelly here?
100%. I would go down to 9,300. We just saw this matchup 3 weeks ago in Coors, and he had 11 strikeouts, 2 earned. He went 6 deep, 27 fantasy points. He had a surprising 8,100 price tag on that slate.
Yeah.
But even at 93, I'm gonna have him in probably every lineup I make. I love
Mark and I definitely we're usually trolling the 3 max contest there. We'll throw some lineups, maybe a couple of other GPPs, but I find myself I'm willing to give him the pass going up against the Dodgers. I think any team or any pitcher that goes and gets rocked by like Atlanta or Houston or the Dodgers, you just kind of like shake your head. You're like, all right, of course, he's going up against Mookie Betts, guy's machine right now. I'll give him a pass there because right before that, 7 innings, 1 hit allowed, 12 strikeouts. You mentioned the double-digit strikeout performance against Colorado in Coors, so 2 10-plus strikeout performances in the last 4. Merrill Kelly seems like a guy that will be getting a lot too. One of the more surprising pitchers, I want to say, that's really come out of nowhere over the last month has been Cole Ragans. I mean, this guy was absolute garbage out of the bullpen for Texas earlier this year. They let him go. The Royals end up picking him up here. And now you're looking at these recent outings, 8 strikeouts, 11 strikeouts, 5 against the Cardinals, then picks it right back up. 9, 11, 9, now going up against the White Sox. White Sox, again, you kind of like avoid Luis Robert here, and you're probably sitting pretty good. Are you a believer like in Cole Ragans here? I mean, he's obviously done nothing to turn us away from him.
I do like the spot. The White Sox they're bad. They've been bad for a while. And on top of that, Luis Robert is day-to-day. He was scratched on Sunday. I think it was a strain.
Let's see. What do we got? What do we got for Robert here for the injury? Day-to-day.
Cramping in his
quad strain there. So interesting.
He might play. If he does, I mean, I'm still not going to shy away. I think it's a great spot. I'd maybe be a little hesitant if he is in the lineup, but I mean, he's 7,200. He's been striking out 8, 9, 11, 9. Yeah, 11 again. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
It's a ridiculous strikeout rate for Cole Ragans, really just coming out of nowhere. And really to your point,
from nowhere.
White Sox 10th highest strikeout rate over the last 30 days against left-handed pitching, sitting at 25%. Obviously, they have some power, 175 ISO, but Ragans is a guy that, I mean, can't hit home runs if you're not making contact with the baseball. And right. Cole Ragans is doing a great job missing bats right now. What other guys in the mid or value tier do you find yourself maybe taking a peek at on this slate?
So I like Brian Wu. He's up to 8K, but he gets the Reds. It is in Cincinnati, which is kind of a hitter's park, but he's been relatively good. He hasn't allowed a home run in the last 20 innings here, and the Reds have been striking out at an insane rate. They did just hang 3 home runs off James and Tyon, but I still have interest in getting to Wu.
Yeah, Wu's an interesting case because of the pitch count. Now, he obviously came right back off the IL only 2 starts ago, but he's looked effective in those 2 starts, 65 and 69 pitches. Got through 6 innings, though, shutout baseball against Oakland at 69 pitches. So if he's going to continue to be as effective as he's been, if he's only limited to like 75 pitches, still get you the 5 or 6 innings. Does that worry you at all when like paying an 8K tag, though, knowing that there could be a pitching cap on him?
It does. The pitch count, I mean, if you're spending 8K, you want him to go 6 deep, and he might go 4 like he did the game before against the White Sox.
Sure.
And the Reds do have bats. They do have lefties who can crush the ball. So if you were to get into trouble early, I mean, how long is he going to be in there? It's kind of risky, but
he could be a pretty low rostered play, I think, which is obviously great for GPPs. As you mentioned, you're in the ballpark here, a Great American Ballpark, affectionately named the Great American Small Park here around the DFS and betting circles, just for the propensity of home runs that ended up being allowed. But over the last 30 days, Cincinnati against right-handed pitching, a 28.2% strikeout rate, third highest in the league. Colorado, as we mentioned earlier, Merrill Kelly, hint, highest against right-handed pitching, 28.7% during that stretch there. So, if Ryan Wu goes out there, misses some bats, he's not like an elite strikeout pitcher, but we've seen him touch 9 against the White Sox, couple 7 strikeout performances there when his pitch count got up to 90. I got to assume he gets bumped up a little bit more, maybe 75 or 80 pitches. So I'm with you. I think I could be interested in Brian Wu more as like a contrarian play on this slate. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Steele and Merrill Kelly here, and then probably just plugging in Cole Reagan, just kind of given the just given that matchup. I got to ask you though, you mentioned Toronto being a heavy money line favorite, but are you interested in Jose Berrios at all in this one?
So because they're playing Oakland, I assume the field is going to get there. He did play them once. He had 24 fantasy points, only allowed 2 earned runs over 6. But the A's, I mean, they have been hitting right-handed pitching. They just hung 10 on the Angels, and a lot of the damage came to the bullpen, which were right-handed arms. I think I'd lean more towards taking Oakland bats, specifically righties, than taking Berrios. I mean, maybe if I'm in a 10 max, I'd get to him, but I'm really scared of this, considering he's 8,800, and they seem to be clicking somewhat.
Yeah, and he really hasn't been pitching all that well either. I mean, the start against Cincinnati notwithstanding, last couple of outings for him there, Chicago, 4 1/3, 4 earned runs, 6 total in that one. Baltimore, 6 innings, 5 earned. Washington, 6 innings, 5 earned. 6 home runs allowed over the last 4 starts. And Oakland against right-handed pitching in the last 30 days, 10th in isolated power against righties. So to your point, guys that are doing some damage, Ryan Geloff is someone that's cooled off a little bit, but when he was hot, it was coming all against righties. Mm-hmm. So it could be an interesting spot here because you're right. A lot of the field tends to just target these Oakland matchups, and given Toronto being such sort of a heavy money line favorite, you could see a lot of people sort of gravitate into the range there for Merrill Kelly. I would agree with you there. Any other pitchers for you maybe that stick out, or are you kind of limiting your pool to who we discussed so far?
That's really it. I mean, there's just tough spots. JP France has been pretty good, but he gets Texas, and right. Even though they've been not as good as they were in months past, I don't think I'd go there. And then I really don't know what to make of the Tampa-Boston game.
Yeah.
I could see myself getting to either one, but I'm not in love with him.
Yeah, Bayo's been a kind of a confusing pitcher, right? Like 3 of his last 5 starts, he's allowed 1 earned run. Ran up against Houston here, kind of got in a little bit of trouble. They pulled him after 80 pitches, 4 2/3. Got roughed up by Detroit, but Kansas City, 6 2/3, 1 earned. At the Yankees, 6 innings, 1 earned. Faced in Houston, 7 innings, 1 earned. So it could be a spot where against Tampa Bay, he is able to sort of hold them down. The Red Sox offense has been pretty inconsistent, so tough to really lean one way or the other. I would agree with you, especially at $7,800 when Cole Reagan's is 72. Like, I'd rather just plug Reagan's in here. We're not going to go Heaney against Houston. We're not going to play Waldichuk against Toronto. Nobody else really sticks out. Schultz, I think, could maybe get a little bit of love just based off his last start. 5 innings, 1 earned. Now, it's only 1 strikeout. Isn't great. He's not a big strikeout guy, but he was stringing some decent starts together for a little bit, then ran into in-cores, and then that Oakland team, like you mentioned, starting to do a little damage here. So as a $5,200 pitcher against Kansas City, I could see maybe Jesse Schultz getting a little bit of look. Nothing too spectacular there, but the majority of his recent outings haven't been the worst in the world.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City hasn't been that great either, so I could see people getting there, but I mean, do you really want to run him out there against Bobby Witt right now, or Bobby W?
He's really the only guy that's hitting on that offense. You go over the last 2 weeks against right-handed pitching, Kansas City second to last in isolated power, just a 192 batting average, dead last in weighted on base percentage, or a 24% strikeout rate. So again, I don't love Jesse Schultz here, but if you just don't hang a fastball or a curveball like James Paxton did to Bobby Witt, he's not going to hit it about 400 feet, So
That's true.
We say this all the time. As long as Team X doesn't throw to Acuna or throw to Ohtani, and yet they do, they hit a 3-run home run and the slate's blown up. As long as Jesse Schulten's pitches around Bobby Witt, he may find himself having some success here. So for me, I would just throw a tournament dart throw on Schulten's because he is $5,200. There are some bats we're going to want to spend up on when it comes to this slate here. So that's a breakdown of our pitching here again. You got one more? What we got?
Just one more point on Wu.
Sure.
The DraftKings updated, so it's showing that there's an opener for Cincinnati and Antoine.
Yeah.
I don't know. But before that, it said the long opener or the long reliever was going to be Marriott, and he's not in the pool. But I looked him up, and it's saying this guy hasn't pitched since 2016. Michael Marriott on the Reds.
Let me see. I have no idea.
So I mean, if that's the case, I'm more interested in Wu because I just give him some
that win equity now, right? So, okay, I could definitely get behind that for sure. We'll see. Obviously, when DraftKings eventually gives us the full pitching spot here for Cincinnati. Again, we're recording here Sunday evening. First look for the 2 p.m. slate. So get in the Discord. Watch out for the playbook that will be out early in the morning for those of you who are tuning in. And we'll have some updated information there on Cincinnati. But probably makes us want to play some Cincinnati bats here as we move on to the offense. Mark, when it comes to sort of our top price targets, our top plays at the infield, where do you find yourself looking?
So despite Heaney being mostly a ground ball pitcher and not giving up a lot of power, I love the Astros in this spot. They've been top 3 in every category against lefties for the last month. So I find myself wanting to pay for Altuve and also Bregman. Both of these guys have been on fire, and I like the spot here against Heaney. Yeah,
historically, Houston has been a team that just mashes lefties. Bregman had a 3-year stretch where he was a 350, 950 OPS guy against lefties, and Altuve was right up there with them. What makes Houston so dangerous about lefties, and we talk about this a lot, is actually that their lefties also hammer left-handed pitching. Kyle Tucker has a 600 OPS, 600 slugging percentage. Yordan Alvarez is right there. So there's no relief for pitchers when it comes left-handed pitchers when it comes to this Astros lineup. They're all super dangerous. So I like those calls there. And then I guess we have to kind of look at, the Seattle side of this. Now, Cal Raleigh is a big-time power hitting catcher. He's also the top priced catcher on this slate. So if you want to spend up for the power, could certainly be a spot for him there when it comes to their infield. We know, obviously, when we get to the outfield, a few more bats will look to target. But Cal Raleigh makes for an interesting catcher spot when it comes to spending up. First base at spending up, you do have Vlad Guerrero against Waldichuk if you want to see if he can, take advantage of that matchup. He is $5K. I know he hasn't been great. You have Casas at $4,400, homered on Sunday, or Sunday. I think he homered on Sunday or Saturday, one of the 2 days. He had homered
Saturday.
there. Saturday he homered. So you do have him against Savale there at first base. Then at shortstop, I mentioned obviously Jesse Schulten's could be an interesting dart throw play, but even though his numbers are sort of slumping a little bit of late, Bobby Witt's still just a menace, whether it be with power or speed, and he's $5,800 here.
Yeah, I have no problem taking him. I also like 500. He's got 2 home runs in his last 3 games, and then considering this Marriott being the long man, if that's confirmed, I like Seattle bats a lot. Probably be stacking them a ton here.
Yeah, for sure. I think you could find yourself going in that direction as well. When we look at some value plays at the position, which ones stick out to you for the infield?
What position is this second? Clement. Where is
he was playing third, but they moved him around a little bit.
Second.
Third shortstop, $2,200.
Yeah. So I mean, he's $2,200. His last 2 games were in cores. So his stats are a little padded, but he's $2,200 and he's going up against Waldichuk. So
I think give him a go. I agree. Listen, we joked about him on the Friday show, I think it was, and then he homered at $2,600, and you were stacking Blue Jays that night. But then he followed up. I mean, listen, he had 2 hits in Toronto against Washington, went on the road, had 3 hits over the 2 games in Coors, didn't play or don't have the stats there for the Sunday game. But I'm with you. On a slate like this, if you're trying to find some different spots to spend up for, now third base tends to be a position we do like to spend up for, but he has that dual position eligibility. So you can pick third or short, and you can kind of plug him in there. I do like Whit Merrifield at 44, Schneider at 46, kind of, again, just going up against Waldichuk. All those spots feel like they could be a little bit tasty there. Other value plays you can look at. We'll see if Emmanuel Valdez is in the lineup for Boston. He is a lefty bat. He has a little bit of power. He's played the last couple of days in Kansas City, had 2 RBIs there on Saturday. Came up earlier, flashed a little bit with the bat, so you could take a peek if he finds himself in the lineup. And then where was Caballero here? What's his Caballero second in shortstop eligibility, $2,800. Again, a value play. Not hitting the ball great of late, but it just feels like we're going to be in on some Seattle infield bats here.
Yeah, isn't Rojas, won't he be in the...
Yeah, Rojas should be in the lineup. That's a good call, too. Rojas, second base, 3,600. They don't play him at all against lefties. Do you know if the long man is a lefty or a righty?
It says he's a righty. Assuming this is the right guy, which I think it is. It says he's on the Reds.
Okay. So yeah, we should get Rojas in the lineup here.
Yeah, he's got steal upside.
Because they got a righty opener and a righty long man. So I like that call. 3,600 for Rojas. Again, cooling off a little bit, but it's because they keep mixing and matching him in the lineup. But he had a hot stretch there. So good call on that one. Any other infielders you want to highlight?
I mean, I like the A's as a contrarian stack. So sure. I have interest in Noda, Langoliers. They're all super, super cheap. And if Berrios doesn't get it done, you could get them at 1% if he's a popular pitcher.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no one is going to be playing the A's here. But like you mentioned, 10 earned runs allowed the last 2 starts for Jose Berrios. So if he's not clicking and the A's are swinging the way they are, could be some dangerous lineups out there tanking with Berrios in their spot. Outfield, Julio Rodriguez is $6,400, top price guy. 409, 1186 OPS the last 10 games. Obviously went 0 for 4 on Sunday, but was just as good over the weekend here. So in Cincinnati, it just makes a lot of sense that you'll be looking to get to him. Both Houston guys, and then Corbin Carroll has woken up. He homered on Sunday, 382 at 1199 OPS going into Sunday. Fine with those 4 as like my core top spend ups.
Yeah, I agree. I especially like Julio. I think the Seattle is going to be one of my favorite stacks of the day. And Corbin Carroll, I mean, Lambert's not very good, and
Carroll is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What do we do with this? Like, is there an answer to stopping Adam Duvall? I
don't think Savali has the answer.
The man keeps homering. I understand there's a 3-game stretch there where he didn't, but he picked it right back up on Sunday. He had a 4-homer stretch there against Houston. He had a couple days off, and he had a 3-homer stretch before that. So, I mean, these couple of days, the reset could just be the start of his next, 4-day home run tear. $5,000 for Adam Duvall. I mentioned on another stream, we always talk about like the hottest hitters in baseball. There's a lot of guys that are hitting. He's up there. He's right up there at 5K going up against Savale. 100% in agreement with you. Could go Chas McCormick here against Heaney. Totally fine with that. Springer against Waldichuk, even though he's been slumping a little bit. Again, just attacking Waldichuk. Teoscar Hernandez, a guy that you're fairly familiar with, having him on your Roto League roster. Turn it up. 5 homers last 10 games. Even doing it against right-handed pitching now as well. So I got to think you'll be in on him at 46.
100%. He's crushing the ball. He went from the guy I hated the most because he was striking out. He led the league. He might still be leading the league in strikeouts, but he's figured it out. He's got a string of RBIs here, a bunch of 3 RBI games, 2 RBIs. He's hitting home runs. No issue stacking him.
Yeah, no issue stacking. I would agree with you there. We mentioned going Merrifield. Again, I'm not really in on going against Wu, but if you do like Friedel or Fraley or something, Cincinnati's offense in that ballpark, there's a lot of lefty bats that maybe could get to Brian Wu here. Let me actually pull up those splits, see what Wu, if he had any one way or the other splits here quickly. Lefties versus righties. versus left-handed hitters. Let's see. Wu versus lefties. So lefties are doing some damage against Brian Wu here. So something to pay attention to. They have a 433 weighted on base percentage, a 633 slug. 7 of the 8 home runs allowed on the year have come against Wu as a lefty hitter. So he is dominating righties. Righties have just a 177 WOBA against him. Not good, but since Cincinnati can throw out Fraley, Friedel, Ellie, Benson, Votto. So
he could be in some trouble.
Could be.
Could be.
Could be. So I'm just throwing that out there. I think, again, Wu certainly has current form Cincinnati struggling for sure. We went over those stats earlier. Wu looking pretty good since coming back from the IL, but also Wu hammered against lefties this year. So could be an interesting
50-50.
spot there. 50-50. One person will be right here. Cincinnati's either going to score a lot of runs or Brian Wu is going to shut them down. So, definitely some interesting spots for there. I know you're on the Story Ruiz guy. He gets on first. He's basically on third with the way he
hits home runs now as well.
yeah.
That's a new thing he does.
The power hitter is Story Ruiz. Did he home run Sunday?
He did not.
Okay. I was going to say homer on Friday. But I mean, look at the type of player that he is. 22 and 31 fantasy points in 2 of the 3 games that he played since going into the weekend. So he has that sort of ability because of his just elite stolen base potential.
They have been sitting him like every couple games, so there's a chance he's not in the lineup, but if he is.
Sure. Brian Bayo struggled against lefties. Josh Lowe, $4,000 feels like a pretty good spot. Yep. If you're not sure, like you mentioned, what the heck's going to go on to Brian Bayo. Brandon Lau, Josh Lowe, 2 guys with some lefty power from the left side of the plate. Josh Lowe really out of nowhere, 27 stolen bases too, 3 over the last 10. So surprising speed coming from him this year as well. If we're looking at under $4,000, any like 1 or 2 names that are popping out to you?
Luke Raley. You could go with him. I think you said Bayo's getting hit up by lefties.
Yeah, a lot of power. We went over that earlier. Luke Raley basically had more doubles and homers than he had singles on the year. So just ridiculous amount of potential, ridiculous amount of double of extra base upside. Lourdes is 37. You mentioned you could go Brent Rooker, biggest power hitter on Oakland if you're not going in on Berrios there. MJ Melendez had himself a pretty decent weekend. Homered on Friday night. Could go him against Schultens if you weren't looking to go there. Let's see. Where else could we look to target there?
Canzoni, Dominic
Canzoni.
Yeah,
Canzoni against first. Yep, for sure.
Back-to-back home runs.
Yep. Marlowe is a guy that we've used a little bit this year as well. Let's see. The expanded roster, so some of these guys that were down are now back up. We could see what happens with Ceddanne Raphael if he plays or not. I know he's on the line in the lineup or on the roster rather. We'll see if he ever gets back into a game. Him and Weiler Abreu are 2 guys for Boston that will have some value. Potential of $2,900 and $2,700 against Savale. Weiler is a lefty, so we could see him maybe crack a lineup here. No other real value plays that are popping out to me. Again, we'll have a full playbook and lineups out for everybody for this 2 p.m. slate. You can get us in the Discord with any questions. We got a couple minutes left here, Mark, so let's build a lineup. Where did we want to go? I think we agreed on Reagans. Do we want to go Reagans and Merrill Kelly here?
Yes, Merrill Kelly.
Okay. 4,100 a play. We like Seattle here. Let's get Rojas in at second. Where else what was the other Seattle infielder you liked?
I like JP Crawford, but if you want to play Bobby W, I will not fight you on it.
Sure. I do like some way, but I want to spend up for J-Rod. Let's go Crawford. That's a good call. Let's see. JP Crawford's $4,500. Let's get J-Rod in there. So we'll set our core 3,800. Let's see. Catcher. So Jansen went on IL. I'm good with going Alejandro Kirk here at 32. That feels like a pretty good spot. Yeah. And Gabe Moreno's 27. Which would you rather attack here?
So just by default, I went to Moreno just because he's been so good. But I mean, Kirk has been good too. I think he's got a 5-game hit streak going.
Moreno has been good. Let's go Gabe. We're getting $2,700 for a guy that's just raking the baseball right now. 4K at first base. Let's see. Let's see. You mentioned Noda. I'm willing to play around with a little Oakland if you are. I mean, he's been hitting well. He is a lefty. You got him at 3K.
I don't love first base at all, really. So I'm fine going down to him.
Okay. So we got him there. Let's see. Third base. We had Julio. We probably wanted Teoscar, the 4-man that 46. Third base. Let's see. You mentioned Bregman. I'm cool with Bregman. That gives us a $3,200 outfielder. I mean, if we want to trust lefties against Woo, there's that. We could go Brown here as well. Another lefty bat. Not hitting the ball as well for Oakland, but
I think he homered Sunday.
Did he?
Oh wait, no.
Trying to see. Let's see.
Lineup,
Martini's a lefty. Let's play Martini. I mean, that's just another Cincy lefty that could be in the lineup. So Brian Woo could be in trouble here. But we got Cole Reagans, Merrill Kelly, Gabe Moreno, Ryan Noda, Josh Rojas, Alex Bregman, JB Crawford, Julio Rodriguez, Teoscar Hernandez, and Nick Martini there. Example lineup for the Monday slate. Mark, thanks for joining us. I think you're going to be back with us a couple times this week. So we'll
see what happens.
Be on the lookout for you. Give him a follow at Mark_Pitts_34. You can find him in the Discord at MP over there as well. We'll be back live 5 o'clock. We'll break down the 4-game 6 p.m. slate. Myself and I believe it's Colby Conway, but we'll see. We'll surprise you with who the guest will be at 5 o'clock. For now, we will catch you guys later.